The teen meal started weekly last year, and we've already anticipated and we expect to be expanding it to twice weekly in August. So by August, we'll be going out. We produce 100 sandwiches, they're like bag lunches that we produce to kids, and we give them out to kids wherever they are that we can find kids around the community, whether in the waterfront or down at the Cove or even in Callender, some of the skateboard park, the YMCA, places like that, some of the camps. Once September comes, they're back in school, there's student nutrition programs, but we've also been approached and talked to by a couple of different groups that have said, after school programs may still need some support, and some of the weekend programs may need support. So we're looking into that, as if we can help them with some. We've already started working towards what does the warming center look like this year. We have to be prepared for winter. Last year we were really prepared for the warming center in December, but we had November, so we had to prepare. So this year we're actually preparing for November, December, January, February, March. So we're now expanding the warming center to a possible 4.5 month operation. How are we, find a location, get the location safe, get the location set up, and then start the volunteer training and things like that as we move towards the fall for that. We know come the fall, we also look demographically. We know in the fall we have an influx of students. If we can see sort of what happens now, we can anticipate the fall. So some of the things, for instance, Canada Summer Jobs and summer jobs in general are not as long-term as they have been in the past. Sometimes it's been 12 weeks. My first year here, 3.5 years ago, I had summer job students for, I think it was 16 weeks. Well, now they're 8. And there's a lot of students looking for work, and we're at the end of July. Changes in OSAP, we don't know how much funding they've got. So we have to anticipate with students to go to the schools, to both post-secondary institutions, and promote the fact that this is a good place to go. It's a free meal. We have 14 meals a week, and you can find something to eat here. We may be able to do some food rescue. We did a couple of reverse food drives in the late fall and in the late spring when we know students are out of money. We did some food drives where we basically brought food up to them. Then the next thing for the fall we work on is our food rescue is daily, but where can we start? So then in the fall, we have to anticipate expanding our food rescue program, and we will be expanding our food rescue program outside of the community. We do some work in Sturgeon, and we'll be working in Mattawa as well. We'll be really expanding our reach into Mattawa.
You've been with the Gathering Place since its inception back in 2003. You were on the board. How are the numbers changing and the demographics and actually the perhaps if you can give me an idea of why you think it's becoming such a need in the community?
I think when we started it, we had the concept that it was going to be kind of a tide over kind of a thing for a few people that just needed that extra little help. And I remember the days when 50 people coming in the early days, 50 people coming through here for lunch was exhausting. We only had one meal. We gradually expanded it to, yes, there were 5 meals a week. We then gradually expanded it under Joe Clark's leadership to a breakfast meal as well, which was only going to be a couple of days a week. We started to see more and more need. And then we went to the evening meals where we do 4 evening meals as well. The fact that I think the biggest change that I think the thing people don't understand is a lot of the folks don't have the cooking skills. A lot of the folks that we see, and I always tell people it's about faculties and facilities. No one's ever taught some of the vast majority of people that come in here, no one has ever taught them to cook. They don't know how to cook. And secondly, they may not have facilities. They may be in a group home. They may be in a boarding house where there's a microwave. Maybe they're in a situation where the boarding house they live in maybe has a 2-burner stove. Maybe they're living in a room where they don't even have a stove. So I think that's changed. I think the perception from the community that this is a leg up for a couple of people here and there. This has now become more and more people are dependent on this for a variety of reasons. Some of it is financial. Rents go up, prices of food goes up, and a lot of these folks are finding things very difficult. One of the most interesting things that I think is a big change that we've seen when we talk to our folks, their biggest barrier with any food security issue is transportation. It's more difficult to get around. A lot of these folks, when you're in here, they're aging, and it's more difficult for them to get around to find the food. And they have identified that transportation is a problem for them. And that's a change from where we were, 15, 16 years ago. And I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest demographical change is we are seeing more women. When we first started, we'd serve 50 meals and probably 40 of them, maybe 41, 42 of them would be male, middle-aged males. We're now seeing all of those demographics all across the board. We are seeing children coming in. We are seeing more families coming in. We are seeing more women coming in. So we think it's a combination of two things. I think a lot of women in the past may have been concerned in the other facility that we were in the past that maybe it wasn't safe for them. It's a bigger facility. It's a little safer facility for them. It's big, it's bright, it's welcoming. I think that's part of it. I think the second part of it is I think more and more women are prepared to ask for that help. I think the community judgment of women who need help is going away. And I think more and more of these women are coming in and they're saying, you know what, I do need help. And I do need help with meals. And I do need help with clothing. And I do need help with hygiene, some of the hygiene supplies. And I think that's the biggest change. And we are seeing, as I say, we're also seeing younger people. So we're seeing little kids, but we're also seeing younger people, which is a big change. We didn't see a lot of young people in the past. We are now in those late teens, early 20s, and they're on their own. And we didn't see that in the past. So that's another change. We do focus a lot on a healthy, balanced diet. And I think our folks feel better when they've got that meal in them. It all does start with food. I think one of the things that people forget is everything starts with food. You can have a conversation about addictions. You can have a conversation about homelessness if they've been fed. We work on everything from prenatal care to sandwiches at a funeral.
A bit of the Bay is going to try to support 5 charities a month, and we're going to give Gathering Place a free quarter-page ad for our inaugural issue September 1st. What are you going to advertise on September 1st to help out the Gathering Place?
I think what we're going to promote first and foremost is the number of meals we have. I think, again, I'm anticipating that influx of students. I'm anticipating an influx of people coming to school. Do they know where we are? Because, it's only been a year. Do they know what we serve? Do we know when we serve? That's what I think we should be promoting. A real healthy meal, and we even serve on Saturdays and all of that stuff. I think it's just important to promote that.